Hi there, my name is K Moon, and this is a video about the new moon in Scorpio for twin souls that occurred on November 15th, 2020 at 12:07 a.m. if you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. This particular new moon is a very special one for twin souls because it is the first time in all, I would say, of 2019 or 2020, since 2019, that Jupiter and Juno seem to be sitting at one of the most harmonious aspects they've had since some point in 2019. They are getting closer and closer to sextiling energy, and they start to remain in this energy all the way through the end of the first quarter in 2021. This specialized energy between the two of them opens the door for deeper communication, taking next steps forward in connection, and beginning to do two things: unravel the past and unhook it from the present, and then carve out a path forward that allows you to be authentic and where you're both at and what you'd both like to create at this time. This is a period of time when, if both people are actually working toward fostering a healthy connection and whatever that looks like for the two of you, you really do have the capacity to manifest that in the 3D world. And that's a real gift. It's an opportunity when we get harmonious energy between the divine counterparts in the sky. There's a bit of a sensation of, kind of life being on our side, wind being at our back, swimming downstream as opposed to upstream. And that's a good thing. I will be sharing a separate video specifically about how to utilize time and communication windows and how to transcend astrology. So be on the lookout for that. If it's important to you to be in some format of communication with your divine counterpart, and utilizing this opportunity to move closer in connection in the 3D material world, that video will walk you through how to not be bound by your astrology based on actual things I've seen from actual clients in the ways they are transcending their astrology and moving toward some type of union in the 3D world. So look out for that. I'm putting it out in the now time because the calendar is completely booked up through the end of December. If you'd like to book a reading with me, the best thing to do would probably be to get on that private list. I'll send them one last shot out for the year when I open up the opportunity for readings to occur. I will be sending that to them first, and even before them to my Star School students, as they've been patiently waiting to get readings, and then whatever's left I'll open up to the general public after that. But if you'd like to be on that first to know, there is a link below this video that will allow you to get on my private list and will allow you to get a reading with me at some point in January, February. Let's move into the energies of this new moon. This particular new moon has supportive energy to both divine counterparts, more so for the divine feminine. She's far more enabled by the energy of this new moon. And she is conjunct the new moon. She is sitting in an aspect conversation astrologers call conjunctions, where the planets sit together. And so here she is at the 18th degree of Scorpio, the sign of transformation, change, death, afterlife, and rebirth cycles, the resurrection cycle. And here's the new moon and sun sitting right next to her with such a dramatic conjunction for a divine feminine energy at this particular new moon. We are kicking off a new cycle for our feminine energies, and this new cycle has to do with what we're shedding and letting go of, who we're no longer going to be, what we are no longer bringing into connection, because it actually gets in the way of intimacy. It gets in the way of closeness. And so we've had, the divine feminine moving through the sign of partnership for 11 months, facing herself, Aries, for 11 months, having a look at, okay, what have I brought to this party that has actually undermined the very outcome that I have said that I deeply want to achieve? And this particular new moon is a period of time in which that is sheddable. It's completely transformable. It's absolutely releasable. And this is the new moon in which to do it. This is the new moon that will allow you the opportunity to finally kiss that piece of obstruction goodbye. So, whether that's some level of addiction, some level of third party, some level of, you know, thinking, especially with Mercury's influence sitting so close and about to pass over her for the third time. It's some level of thinking and or speaking, self-talk or thought paradigm about connection, yourself, what you're worthy of, who your partner is, how they're behaving toward you. There's some level of destruction in there that is causing an obstruction to connection. This is the new moon in which you'll be able to release that if you're actively working on it. And I do say actively working on it because this new moon is having a very lovely, harmonious energy here to all this transformative energy over here in Capricorn. We've got Pluto, we've got Jupiter, we've got Saturn. And here's the divine feminine having that conversation first with Pluto and Jupiter. Okay, here's what I'm going to let go of to foster connection more directly. And then she's going to, at the end, have a conversation here with Saturn, which is like, and this is the integrity, this is the wholeness that I fully intend to step into, as Saturn represents wholeness and integrity. Okay. And what is it called? Kind of like separating us from that which compromises our integrity. Saturn will do that. So it's a very beautiful time. It's, I would say, even a blessed time. It is a time of reaping the fruits of what you've sown in 2020. Hopefully, you had the opportunity to listen to both the Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine 2020 channeled messages. At some point, they've been linked underneath every single video all year. They got put out at the end of 2019. And they spoke in depth about what it is that you would need to do to be really in a place of reaping benefit by this time. So hopefully you've had a chance to listen to that. If you're just now joining me on this journey, welcome. Please subscribe. But this is your opportunity to begin the process anew because there is a new chapter here. Divine Masculine is also going through ending energy. Divine Masculine energies, final conjunction with Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio, which is where she sits and where the new moon is. The Plutonian energy meeting up with the Divine Masculine energy, Jupiter, has been bringing about an ego death all year long for masculine energies, things that we've previously invested our outer world ego in, our job, our career, the money we make, the place we live, the people we're married to, the neighborhood we're in, the school we send our kids to, all those things that we've had ego investment in. This Jupiter conjunct Pluto 3 times this year, March, end of June, and again on November 11th, 11/11. These 3 meetups have really brought forward a recognition of that which we're going to have to let go of in our masculine energies again in order to have not only connection thrive but to have a life that's workable, because this sign that the Divine Masculine has been having this meetup with Pluto in Capricorn is all about the structure of our life, the workability of the structure of our lives. How is our life structured, the format of it, the institutions, the agreements, all of the structural things that make our life. There have been pieces of that 2020 has ripped out from underneath us and said, you're going to have to find another way because this is no longer aligned with your soul. So if you've been in that transition process in 2020, just know that there is a new beginning energy coming. We are in the birth canal passageway. I talked about this a lot in the general energy update for light workers for this particular lunation. Please check that out. It'll give you some clarity about when that new beginning comes and how to work with this energy in the now time so that you're not just being victim to the stars, but instead you're co-creating with your creatorship the outcome that you want. I go in depth about that in the lunation for light workers for this particular period. So please have a listen to that. Additionally, you will find here that there is a special sextile going on between divine masculine energy and Neptune, which is all about faith. This new moon and divine feminine energy is trine Neptune. So the Neptune with the trine and the sextile is giving us the gift of faith. It's giving us wind at our back around, okay, maybe I can believe again. Maybe it's possible for me to see a new beginning, see a new outcome, see a new path forward based on what it is I'm letting go. The heavy Scorpio influence and the Neptune influence here, both of these are about emotional release, emotional letting go. And to the degree that you're allowed to grieve what's dead, because it is gone, it's done. The chapter with that caused that grief cycle, that's coming to a close. And in order for you to have the ability to fully step into the new chapter, bringing emotional baggage from the last chapter won't be possible. You're going to have to let it go. And this is the new moon in which to do that. The Neptune energy is supporting that by saying, hey, why don't we have a look at emotionally what we're ready to put down, what we're ready to let go, both of you? And why don't we have a little faith in what might be possible? Okay. There's also a really lovely energy here for divine feminine with Pluto. Even though divine masculine's talking to Pluto, divine feminine's talking to Pluto, the ruler of this moon is Pluto. It's important to understand the gifting of Plutonian energy because Pluto really does represent our capacity to resurrect, to move through the death, afterlife, and rebirth cycle. But the resurrection doesn't come without the death. Moving into the new birth doesn't happen without that period of quiet in the afterlife that allows us to reset. And so if there is a short period of silence or quiet here in your connection or within yourself as it pertains to your connection, it's okay. The Plutonian energy provides the gifting of moving through this period of time of kind of like I'd say maybe space between contractions if you're giving birth, where things are just a little bit calm before it's time to start pushing again. This Plutonian energy is also about confronting fears. It's about confronting power. And it's really important during this period of time to give yourself the opportunity to look at what have you been afraid of? Not to get into feeling it and dwelling there, but to recognize that that fear actually doesn't need to control you, that fear actually doesn't need to bind you. And instead, you have the opportunity to say, I am the master and creator of my life. I define what happens in this timeline. And it is me who has the power to say yes to this and no to that. I am not a victim to the stars or to anything else. And so, this particular Plutonian energy about this may be bringing up certain fears. They may be bringing up certain energies from the occult. They may even be bringing up, things that you thought you had let go of for one final release. And that's okay. That's a beautiful gift to have this Plutonian energy at this new moon because it is endowing each of you with the power to step into your next highest timeline. So I want to stop here because I've covered a lot of ground about how this lunation impacts you in your own life in the general update video. I'd like to invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I also want to remind you that if you'd like to get a reading with me in 2020 to see how this new communication window, union window that's opening up for such an extended period of time will impact you, to please jump on the private list. The link to that is below. And I will see you in the next video update. Be on the lookout for that update about communication. Thanks so much. Take great care and bye for now.